Ever since the disappointment that was the Tokyo Ghoul 10th anniversary project, I have basically come up with a plan to basically go volume by volume and adapt Tokyo Ghoul as a series into episodes and basically an anime adaptation on how I would want it to be personally, including the pacing, the studio, the animation, all the good episodes, all that type of jazz. So if you guys like this type of videos, please make sure to like and subscribe. The more you like, the faster the next part comes out. And anyways, let's get right into this shit. Now, there are two prime scenarios that I've thought of in my head about the Tokyo Ghoul remake or an actual Tokyo Ghoul anime. Now, the first one is, what if this is how the anime was adapted? Let's say the anime was picked up by MAPPA instead of Period way back in 2014 when the manga was still running. And basically, I want to put into perspective the hype of the situations and when the new seasons would come out and stuff. Basically like that. Or we could have the situation where it's adapted now with the remake and it's adapted in that new MAPPA, like free schedule MAPPA with Chainsaw Man level animation and compositing. Those are the two situations I came up with. But anyways, today I'm just going to be pacing the series, going episode by episode for the first volume, showing you guys how it's actually supposed to be done. Starting out with the first episode, we're actually going to have the actual Tokyo Ghoul starting sequence of the manga. The first couple pages where the narrator explains what ghouls actually are. And we have one person in a dark alley running away from a mysterious, shadowed, clothed freaking ghoul. We're going to have him running away from her in first person. I like the animation to completely jump us into the atmosphere as soon as the episode gets on, so people are already interested. Now, this sequence is going to end when the ghoul ends up killing this person running away, and we're going to cut to the opening song. Now, after the opening song, we're basically going to get the cafe sequence, basically with Hide and Kaneki talking. We're going to get the first glimpse of most of our favorite characters, Touka, Yoshimura, and Rize. Basically, this is just going to be showing off the animation. The foreshadowing, a lot of first-time watchers won't really get because they don't know what the hell is actually happening here. It's just mainly going to be about the animation. And basically, they're going to explain, which they left out in the anime, the black goat's egg. Something that was completely left out of the anime. I don't know why it's been left out of the anime, but something that's very important to Tokyo Ghoul is actually in my version. So the black goat's egg explanation will actually be here. And this scene just overall is going to look beautiful with the OST playing right when Rize walks in and everything. Now, in regards to the date sequence of the first chapter, basically, I want to stretch this out a little bit more. I thought that the anime did well in, showing us more development between Rize and Kaneki's relationship before completely tearing it down like all the way. I want the episode to have a little portion of them just, doing other stuff on their date. I always thought it would be more interesting if each implemented like what they actually did over that whole day. But I guess it's just going to a bookstore, so it's not that not super duper interesting to the audience to just see two people in a bookstore, but maybe you could include some foreshadowing or something there. I don't know. But basically, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to extend the date sequence a little longer. Now, the eventual reveal of Rize being a ghoul will be done pretty similarly to the original anime. I actually liked how they did it in the original anime. The only thing is they didn't adapt the panel of Rize biting into Kaneki's flesh as good as the manga did. They kind of did their own kind of spin to it, and I guess in the anime, they really cut out on the gore. The blood kind of looked like ketchup in the show, I'm not going to lie, which is something I would really want to fix. I want there to be a dark undertone because this is Tokyo Ghoul. This is not Bleach or anything like that, like Naruto. This is Tokyo Ghoul. So when somebody gets injured, I want blood to be splattering like it's in a real body getting hurt. But yeah, this chase sequence is going to be amazing, where Rize just chasing Kaneki down, and the first emergence of her Kagane, I want there to be super duper special effects. I want it to look gory. I want it to look dark. And I want it to basically be like a cat and mouse chase where the mouse has no chance of escaping. Like in this scene where you're reading the manga, you can already tell that Kaneki has zero chance of escaping Rize here. And then finally, when he's pinned up back against the wall, super injured, stabbed in the gut, steel pipes fall on Rize with crazy SFX, and it'll just be crazy. Crazy twist after twist. After these turns of events, the screen would basically cut to black, and then after, it'll be like a blinking effect where Kaneki's vision is super blurry during the surgery of like the doctors are doing on him. It's going to be kind of like a blurry effect, first person view of Kaneki looking at the doctors, kind of how it is in the manga, where he's going to open his eyes, hear them talking, then close them again, then open his eyes. And then while he closes his eye for like the last time, we're going to hear his monologue of, I'm not the protagonist of a book or anything, but if I was, it would most likely be a tragedy. And we're finally going to get to see the iconic panel adapted in all of its glory. You know what I mean? All of its glory. Peak. This is where I think halfway through the episode we're going to be at. After being discharged from the hospital, this guy Kaneki would basically realize that nothing he's been eating lately even tastes remotely the same as it did before. So his friend Hide ends up, to celebrate him getting freaking released from the hospital, you already know, Hide invites him over to Big Girl. Now, the Big Girl scene, I really want to emphasize a little bit because this scene is very important for the next scene I'm going to do after this, because it really enforces that sense of dread that Kaneki's feeling at this current moment. And I feel like in an anime format, him going to Big Girl, realizing, like, even my favorite food isn't hitting right now, is going to push a sense of despair within not only the scene, but even the episode. So basically, Kaneki's going to realize that even his favorite food's not hitting. He's going to go home and then also realize that ghouls can only eat human flesh. And so Kaneki, in this scene, would start tumping down everything in his kitchen in a sense of desperation. I want the music to build up, like, in this scene, like Silent Voice when Shoko's about to jump, bro. I want the music to just keep rising and rising as he's trying literally everything in his kitchen to try and taste something that tastes good. And then when he comes to the shocking realization where he's back on the ground, hand over his eyes, realizes that nothing tastes good to him right now. Everything tastes terrible. He can't eat anything. He's dying of hunger. And he's in the pits of despair. For the last portion of the episode, I want the ending song to play as he goes outside looking for something to eat again. But he ends up seeing Touka, the girl in the cafe, end up getting hit on by this random old man. And what happens is the old man sees Kaneki preeing him hitting on Touka, the young girl, and tries to go press Kaneki about it. But then Kaneki gives him the meanest stare of all time. And I feel like with anime, adaptation and anime music, this would just be extra, like, a lot of Tokyo Ghoul is horror. This would just be extra horror added onto it. And so the old man would get freaked out, but then we get another twist right at the end of the episode to please our audience, where Touka would quite literally, super goringly, slice this old man's face in half horizontally with her bare hands. Yeah, this would be absolutely crazy. And the episode would end when we find out that Touka is also a ghoul. Episode 1 would feature chapters 1 and 2 of the original manga. And I want you guys to keep in mind, when I'm talking about these specific scenes, and you may notice me leaving out something from the story, it's because I'm not trying to just re-explain the manga. I'm literally just trying to cover up all the plot points that this anime is going to cover up. If I really explained every single plot point that happens in every single episode, that's basically me just explaining the manga. I'm just showing you guys scenes that I would enhance, scenes that I would actually adapt. Episode 2 would pick up right where the last episode left off, where Touka's offering Kaneki a hand to eat. Kaneki then goes and runs away from Touka because he doesn't know what the fuck is going on. And Touka also notices that Kaneki is that same person that was with Rize, and that only one of his eyes is red. And she questions that. We then get to the scene where Kaneki gets home, and he would basically just be in complete and utter despair. But then Hide would end up voicemailing him about Takatsuki Sen's, his favorite author's book signing for the next day. So Kaneki would get up and go to the book signing, but at the same time he would be standing in the middle of the crowd and just hallucinating, because there's a bunch of people around him, and he'll just be hallucinating and going, girl, boy, son, daughter, he'd be saying people's names and shit, like what they are, and then it would all culminate to me, and it would just be a great psychological warfare type of scene where he's just standing in the middle of a crowd just saying these me. Oh my gosh. It would be peak psychological warfare right here. Then he would end up running home in a fit of sadness and be like, okay, you know what? Come up with a great idea. He'll come up with another climactic scene where Kaneki would hold a knife and try to stab the organs that Rize got implanted inside of him by Rize. and he thinks that taking those organs out will actually help him to not become a ghoul anymore. You know, he'll become a regular person again. So he tries to stab those organs out, but in the end, it doesn't work, and he keeps crying and walloping in his pit of despair. Finally, around the halfway point episode, he would find his way back to Touka and literally beg to her on his hands and knees to please help him out, because he's the only ghoul he knows that is friendly and won't kill him, and that the only person that could possibly help him out. Then Touka basically pages him and tells him, oh yeah, you know what? I've been a ghoul my whole life. You know, my whole life's been hell. She basically pages him for all that shit. You guys already know if you read the manga. But then Yoshimura actually helps this guy. After Yoshimura helps Kaneki, he ends up going home. And then we get another similar scene from episode 1 where he's just stuffing everything in his mouth, because this time he got the meat, the human meat in his hand, but he doesn't want to eat it, right? That's the problem. He doesn't want to eat that human meat. So he throws it against the wall, and then he keeps trying everything in his wardrobe. He tries to eat toothpaste, everything, right? He keeps trying to eat all that, but then he finds out that coffee works. And so he makes a whole bunch of coffee. After finding out coffee works, he ends up going to the coffee store to buy some more coffee, but on his way back, Kaneki realizes that he smells something that smells like mom's home cooking, and so he makes a beeline towards some random spot which smells like something he could eat, to the point where the music will swell up all the way up in this scene until he turns the corner and finds a human body on the ground dead as a ghoul is devouring it. Now, as this ghoul is devouring it, he's telling Kaneki, he's like, yo, get the hell out of here. I'm trying to eat. What the hell are you doing? Why are you staring at me? And all that other stuff. While he's doing that, it'll be like a jump scare where two hands grab onto this ghoul's shoulders and then just boot him off. And then we get Nishiki's introduction. Towards the closing point of this episode, Nishiki would be telling Kaneki, he's like, yo, I'm gonna kill you if you stay on my feeding ground. Get the hell out of here. And Kaneki just being shaken up that he just got attracted to the scent of a dead body, you know, like, and he's about to get killed right now. Just can't even move. But then at the last moment, Touka comes and helps Kaneki, and we get a sick show of animation and choreography when Touka and Nishiki go at it. And I feel like this little scuffle here could be extended for a little bit, maybe them going toe for toe, but ultimately Touka should end up getting on the top of Nishiki, because, bro, we all know Touka slams Nishiki on his throat if they really fought. Nishiki flees, and then after that, just Kaneki and Touka, where Touka actually tries to feed Kaneki because she understands his situation now, because Yoshimura told her about what the hell he actually is going through right now. But Touka isn't so considerate, so she just jams a human arm inside of Kaneki's mouth, telling him to eat it, and it'll be a very emotional scene in the anime, where he's just not eating. Like, Kaneki's literally just completely broken and distraught, and it's only been 2 episodes, so he just spits that thing out. And Touka tries to ask, why the hell don't you want to eat? Like, aren't you hungry? Aren't you suffering? And Kaneki literally tells, he's like, I can't eat a human flesh, and I'm not like you monsters. He'll go into his little monologue. He says some stuff before that, but the main thing I want to emphasize is him saying that he's not like them monsters in Tokyo. He's not like the other ghouls. He's not a guy that enjoys to kill people and eat their flesh. So basically, the episode would end on this climactic note. For episode 2, I chose to adapt chapters 3 to 5. This is mainly because I want to keep a 3 chapters minimum type of pacing for this series. I don't want any episodes to feel too slow and any episodes to feel too fast. A lot of people might ask me, oh, what about 4 chapters? If I did 4 chapters, we'd have 18 episode long seasons. So, like, we got to stretch this shit out. And also at the same time, tokyoghoul chapters have a lot of exposition and dialogue that we need to get through. And keeping it at 3 chapters, like, length, helps me add some more things onto the anime, because that's ultimately what the anime is used for. Episode 3 would begin right where we left off once again, where Touka would basically tell Kaneki, after she literally spazzed on her on the previous episode, she literally tells him, okay, you know what, if you can't choose between ghoul and human, you don't belong anywhere. But then she leaves. But then finally Kaneki's gonna get a message from Hide right when he's about to give up and actually, like, find out that he doesn't actually belong somewhere. He gets a message from Hide saying, oh yeah, where are you at? You want your history notes? And then he gets an idea. Let me just go back to college with Hide, because why not? Right here, the opening would play. And for this episode, we'd see Kaneki back in college with Hide and a whole bunch of his friends, you know, basically writhing these days where if Hide finds out that he's a ghoul now, he really wonders his reaction. He's like, what would Hide do? I think our friendship would be ruined forever. We wouldn't be able to talk like this ever again. Anyways, they arrive at the spot that Hide wants to help his friend at. He needs to pick up something up from his friend. And we find out that his friend is actually Nishiki. And what I want for this like Nishiki and Kaneki like encounter for the second time is some L versus Light Death Note type of ominous like mental warfare. Because I really want them both going back and forth. Like, oh my gosh, like we both know each other's identity. What the hell can we do to like get Hide out of this situation or kill Hide? You know what I mean? It's gonna be like a mental warfare, and the audience is gonna be stressing because they already know that Nishiki is a threat. Like I said, most episodes up until this point would just be pure suspense based on them all just hanging out, chilling, you know, acting like everything's okay. But then the Nishiki twist would happen, and the scene's atmosphere would be very dark and ominous and make you worry for what might happen next to Kaneki and Hide. The sadistic personality of Nishiki would be on full display, as he would be viewed as very intimidating, and the fact that he could kill both our main characters right here would build up crazy suspense within the anime. After Hide gets knocked down, the fight between Kaneki and Nishiki officially starts. We get to see Kaneki absolutely get pummeled by Nishiki. But I want the choreography to be actually good, and the animation to actually ramp up along with the music. I also want there to be insane gore, because Nishiki says that punching through Kaneki is like punching through a pillow or something like that in the manga. I really want that to be the case, because seeing blood just gush out of Kaneki when Nishiki hits him, like that is dark. Like that is actually tokyoghoul. I think that's what Suishida was actually going for in this scene. Nishiki would throw one last kick that sends Kaneki flying through the air in slow motion as he falls to the ground, and it feels like he's just about to give up. But then the music would get to swelling again, and Kaneki goes into a backstory as we find out just how much Kaneki cares about Hide as a friend. As Kaneki's getting up in the background, the narrator would narrate the iconic lines as the camera pans between Kaneki and the memories he holds dear of him and Hide's backstory. Then finally, as Kaneki gets up, the whole screen would be black and white like Gon or Itadori's rage moment, and the narrator would finish his line, and after that, Kaneki in a rage voice, and this panel being adapted beautifully would say, "I won't let that happen," as a close-up of his ghoul eye happens in that black and white sort of art style. The episode would go into the ending song, and the fight between Kaneki and Nishiki would go crazy with amazing animation on display, and the ending song, again, playing in the back. Kaneki would brutally destroy Nishiki by impaling him and thrusting his blades deeper into show his rage. Yeah, so basically what I want there to be is, unlike the original anime where Kaneki just basically just demolished Nishiki, like hitting him over and over again, in the manga he basically just stabbed him once and then just kept thrusting his Kagane right into him, right? So that's what I want to happen in the actual show. And then he would snap out of it and throw Nishiki in the back, with the animation going crazy and the scene absolutely destroyed because of their fight. Right after this fight though, the craziness isn't over, because then Kaneki would start going mad and insane, emphasizing just how hungry he is by beginning to look at Hide as food. The audience would really feel, the amount of stress and just like twists over and over again, because we were just fighting to protect Hide, and now it looks like Kaneki is about to eat Hide, which would really build onto the stress of this scene. But just when Kaneki is about to eat Hide, Touka would come in saying her lines and start releasing her Kagane, with the music swelling up once again, and the episode would end with both of them charging at each other for their fight. Anyways, that is the end of Volume 1. Now, remember guys, I left out a couple important facts about some of these episodes, some of these chapters, because if you really want to know what happens between these chapters, you can go read the manga. I'm just trying to tell you how I would adapt these chapters into an anime format if I was doing a 24 episode season. I feel that episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 would have crazy iconic moments. If they had Chainsaw Man level animation, guys, imagine this fight could be taken to an entirely different level. And that's going for all the other fights in the future too. I feel like the first 3 episodes are probably the most important episodes for a new anime to blow up nowadays, because TikTok's going to start going crazy. Twitter's already going to be talking about it because it's tokyoghoul. But yeah, I think if it's on Crunchyroll too, Crunchyroll will be posting bare posts about this on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If Tokyo Ghoul was paced like this instead of how it was actually paced in the other anime, this shit would go absolutely crazy. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. If you guys want the volume 2 video, please like the video. It gives me a lot more motivation and passion to do the next one. Not that I don't love Tokyo Ghoul, but I just want to see that there's someone I'm talking to with this. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk to a wall. But yeah, hope you guys like this video, and I know.